guys, welcome back to Hear Me Out. I'm E,
I'm D.
and today we're going to recap season 5, episode 4 of the Kardashians. So, this episode is called I'm the Man of the Year. Is she? I don't know. But we're going to read an article and give you our opinions because I know you guys love it.
Okay, so this article or recap was written by Shweta Zavari. Again, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. So, season 5 has made it to episode 4, which came out Thursday, June 13th. After the promo of the episode released with episode 3 last week, fans were excited to see the SKIMS by Swarovski launch and Chloe and Malika visiting a sperm bank. So, Kendall also visited her former school in the episode because she received an invitation to talk about mental health. And Chris and Kim discussed how difficult it had been for Kim to juggle her career and the kids and how she coped with it. So, let's see here. Where do we start? Let's go with, as Chloe explained in a confessional, Malika's estrangement from the father of her only child led her to choose the sperm bank option because she had previously wanted to have another baby. Chloe also called Rob to ask if he would give his sperm since Malika and he had already slept together. Rob refused. Side note, I didn't know that, and I was very much like, and Malika looked like, did you just disclose that? Okay, anyway. So before we move on to the next information here, let's not go past this scene right here. What did we think about that whole situation?
I'm going to let you go first.
Okay, so it's like, I get it. Women when they're a certain age and there's no prospects, it makes sense. And that's literally why sperm banks exist. Well, I don't know if that's the whole reason or only reason, but that's the primary reason why they exist. So I can understand why that'd be an avenue that she would want to go with. I didn't like the way Chloe reacted to it. It was almost like she was kind of judging her for it a little bit.
Really?
Yeah, I kind of felt like she didn't really want her to do that. But again, it's like, if that's a viable option, why not? It can obviously help her with her timeline of how she wants things to go and everything. And then Chloe calling Rob, it's always disturbing when she makes those kind of calls to Rob. And then it's even more disturbing what his answers are. So that whole scene felt very awkward to me. And then the whole thing about the fact that they slept together, I didn't know that. Not that I'm surprised, but still, like, why are we putting people's business out there like that? So yeah, that was just a very weird little scene for me. What did you think?
I felt, well, first to address Rob, I feel like he's always been such an ass.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like he hasn't grown up at all. It's the same behavior that we saw on Keeping Up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's just so, I'm glad he's not on the show.
Yeah.
And I guess him responding like that, it's insensitive. I mean, not
Yeah.
that men could be sensitive. I mean, they can, but
Right.
that's not a known trait for them. But it's like a serious question. Chloe said Bible. We haven't heard that word in a
I
while.
know. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So we know this is like a serious topic. So then, like, why not address it with more, sensitivity
And maturity.
and maturity? He could have just said, no, I don't think I'm the right person. No, I don't want to have no more kids. No, choose somebody else. I suck. I don't know, whatever. But just being so vulgar, it was just nasty.
Yeah.
And it was unnecessary. Um, I did feel bad for Malika because I think, women sometimes go through their life trying to plan things in a certain fashion. We can't help it. We sometimes do. Maybe we don't, and then all of a sudden we do, and then we're disappointed by life, or something happens, or something changes.
Yeah.
So in her situation, she's not with OT Genesis anymore, and she probably wanted to have more kids then and just didn't. And then time has been going by so fast, especially after 2020. Like, we're
Yeah.
mid year 2024. It's like, where has life gone? So you kind of don't see it like creeping up. And I don't want to say your time is coming, but we do have a biological clock. So we kind of don't see it coming because it's like, oh, we still have time. We have time. We have time. And it's like, oh,
Do we?
do we? We do, but
Yeah. Yeah.
so I think it's just sad when you plan for certain things or you hope for certain things to pan out a certain way and
Yeah.
they don't, and you have to seek these things that you wouldn't necessarily want to do. So I think it's just a sad situation.
Yeah. That's true.
And now she's like rushing to like, well, maybe if I meet someone, like who wants to like meet someone and feel rushed to get knocked up, and then there's a whole sets of problems that
Hmm.
could come from that. So being against the gun, it's not a good feeling. So it's sad.
Yeah, I feel bad for her. It's a lot, and it's a big decision to really consider and everything.
Scott
Um,
is even more sensitive
yeah, yeah, he was
and funny.
always, always. In another scene, Chloe visited Courtney and saw her wearing Kim Kardashian's Met Gala Riccardo Tisci dress, famously known as the couch dress, because of the trolls. She said she was wearing it as her Halloween costume. The sisters then spoke about how Chloe could go out and have fun now that Tristan had moved to Cleveland. Kim visited Chris and they talked about adding more things to Kim's already full plate. They discussed how difficult it was for Kim to juggle between her career and her 4 kids. Chris advised her to set boundaries at work and with her family to get some time off. Cameras then followed Kim into her GQ Men of the Year shoot, because of course. So before we continue, what do we think about these two scenes here? In particular, Courtney and Chloe's conversation, and then the conversation Chris and Kim had.
I just don't like Courtney.
Oh
I
God.
do. It's a love hate relationship with her. And I don't know if I'm carrying on with their beef, but I just feel like they're forcing it. Or maybe they're cool. I
Kim,
don't know.
Courtney and Chloe?
Courtney and Kim. Like I
Oh,
just feel like that there's just this underlying thing. Maybe it's just me that I can't get over. That was a big, big fight. And I don't know if things could be the same kind of thing. Or it's also the Courtney is an alien to me because she's just morphed into this person with Travis and changed so much and just dumped her whole family because this is now her new family. Like it's just I have a weird dynamic with her.
yeah.
um but again, people aren't listening to Chloe. They're all up in her business. Is she having relations? Who cares? It's none of your business. Like, just because Trish Trash left town doesn't mean that Chloe couldn't have gone out and done things.
Right.
So I don't know what she's really trying to say regarding that.
Well, I will give Courtney credit because at least she asked Chloe, is this a soft check in or hard check in? Like she was trying to gauge where Chloe was to like ask her some of these questions. So I give her credit for that. Um, it sucks, of course, like I said before, that her family constantly brings him up. I get it. I mean, he is the father of her 2 kids, and it's not like there's been much separation. We know that he moved in with her for a while last year. We know that she's also one of the guardians for Amari, Tristan's brother. Um, and Chloe does everything for her kids as well. So it's a lot. And I think the fact that Chloe has not had separation from Tristan, maybe that's why everybody's still so inclined to keep like putting them together as though things can like be magically fixed
Yeah.
because they're together or whatever. But again, Chloe having to explain herself or just explain her situation or whatnot, it sucks. It really sucks to like see her constantly having to have the same narrative. The same way Kendall talked about how, oh, all my storylines are about me talking about anxiety and mental health. Well, Chloe's is literally just about Tristan. Trish trash. And that sucks because there's more to Chloe, there's more to her life than just him. And I wish that they would focus more on that. But and so then the conversation that Chris and Kim had, like, it goes back to what I was saying earlier as well, or actually in our recap for episode 3. I think she keeps making these choices where she is adding more things to her plate. So yeah, that's gonna make it difficult for her to be able to balance things as far as motherhood and whatever else she has going on. Um and I don't know, like I didn't really care for that scene because she was so upset that on her birthday she didn't get to do what she wanted and she did whatever the kids wanted, and she seemed so like offended by that, and I was just like, I mean, that's how it goes when you have kids. Kids aren't gonna know, like, oh, that you want to just like sit in your room by yourself. It I feel like a lot of the time she kind of makes it seem as though like she's like it's a burden to like kind of have to do all these things with them, and that's not a good look because people can take that the wrong way.
Yeah, in the comments regarding that little clip, a lot of mothers can relate to something like that. It's like these little kids that just won't leave me alone, kind
Yeah.
of thing. But sometimes Kim does sound a little resentful, I guess, or like, but
Hmm.
that goes back to probably her spoiling her kids or giving the kids her way. She's the adult. She sets the
Yeah.
boundaries and she acts like she doesn't have a nanny
Or two.
or three or to do stuff or,
Yeah.
if she didn't want, I don't want to say it like that, but if she didn't want to spend her birthday with her kids because she just wanted to relax or go to a spa or whatever, she could have. She could have celebrated the day before, be like, leave me alone this day, or, oh, I'm working. And she does her self care that
Yeah.
day. So Kim has the resources, and sometimes it falls flat because it sounds like she's complaining. It's understandable what she's going through, but
Yes.
her saying it, it's like, girl, come on. There's moms or dads or guardians really out there that don't have your resources
Hmm.
or family. She could have sent the kids to, we know Chloe will take care of all the kids.
She sure will.
If not the nannies, you have a big ass family. You
Yeah.
have resources. Some families don't. Whether it's family close by, whether it's people that they trust, whether it's money, whether it's just, I don't know, anything else. So,
Yeah. It just doesn't look. It's not a good look. Or like how we always say sometimes with her, right message, wrong messenger. Like
hmm
I feel like that always comes about with her.
yeah.
Okay. So next scene, Chloe and Malika actually did visit the sperm bank and scrolled through the profiles of donors on a laptop provided. Malika got emotional. She talks about taking the non-traditional route to have a child. So this doesn't really go too much in depth, so I'll just stop right there because I feel like that was a very heavy scene. So what did you think about that?
Um, well, I was a little grossed out, I gotta admit. But it goes back to it feeling so transactional. And maybe it's just me. It's like, hey, I'm here to get some sperm and have a child, and now I
Right.
have to choose credential. Like, it seems weird,
Yeah.
but it was informative
Mhm.
in a way. I don't know why they needed to see all that. Like, why couldn't they just go to like the conference room to have a discussion? It was
Mhm.
a little much for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Um but I find it interesting how they had tiers for the men. Platinum, gold
Oh yeah.
profiles. I was like, whoa, okay. I don't know, honestly, I know that for obviously how Malika felt and how a lot of women feel like that's not obviously the traditional way to go. But for me, 5 years ago, prior to me meeting my partner, I thought about it. It was like, okay, that's an option. Because in my mind, I did see it transactionally. Like,
Mm.
I want this to happen. This is how I'm gonna get it to happen. Because it would just be like, it would just make things easier, right? And there's no chance of anybody coming to ask for no parental rights, anybody come and try to do nothing. Like,
Mm.
you get what you want, no strings attached. Like, so yeah, like I saw it as a transactional thing. That's why like I thought, okay, yeah, sure, if that's what I gotta do, that's what I gotta do. Because just a little side note for me, and I think you have mentioned it something along the lines before, that's not something that I wanted, right? For many, many years. And when it slowly started to change for me, and just thinking of like the age, because yes, age is such a factor.
You're older than I am, so
Yes, much, much older. Much older. So around 5 years ago, it was something along the lines of me thinking like, well, if I am gonna do this, I only have a set amount of time left, or this, a window. And so I thought, if this is the route I'm gonna go in, then I might as well do it this way. Get it done. That's just how I saw it. And then of course, once I did meet my partner, literally not long after having those thoughts, then things started to change. But not everybody can go in the traditional route. As much as you try, as much as you want to, there's issues that can come about. So seeing that whole scene and seeing Malika get emotional, I felt bad for her because, you know, you can tell that clearly this is something she does really want. She wants to have another child. And her issue's not necessarily like a physical issue. It's just the fact that she doesn't have someone that she can do that with. Which, I mean, that's kind of out of her control. Yes, she could go and meet someone, but like you said, it's like rushing, oh, who wants to get with someone, and then like, oh yeah, let's have a kid 2 weeks later, right? Like, that's not how regular life works. And so yeah, so I felt really bad for her during that scene. It was a little bit like sad just watching that.
disclaimer, guys, we're not capping it at a certain age. I know that we know that there's advances in technology. We know that there's women that have kids in their 40s. Hey, Michael Jackson, Janet Jackson
Yeah.
had a child at 50, I think,
Yeah.
right?
I think she was 50, 52 around there.
But we also need to be aware, there's different things that could happen. And
Mhm.
again, these celebrities have these resources, and they have round the around the clock care and all these doctors. So a good example will be Courtney's situation,
Oh
where
yeah.
she has this specific doctor that was like, yeah, very proactive and saying, hey, go check this out. And luckily everything turned out well, but she needed a whole fetal surgery.
Right.
And I'm not going to go very deep into it, but we know as Black and brown women, they don't even like to listen to us at the doctor. It was like, we're not feeling well. You're feeling just fine.
You're good.
You're
You're
good.
good.
Oh, no, you're too late. We hear this from our parents, our family. We hear this from doctors. This is a
Yeah.
geriatric pregnancy. Don't even try. So we have like all these odds stacked against us. But there is technology.
Yeah.
We're not saying that it's impossible, but you know, life is life, and our bodies is our bodies, and it ages how it ages. We can't
Yeah.
control it.
This is very true. And it's not easy being a woman, y'all. It's really
Hmm.
not easy. Okay, so next scene, Kendall and her mom visited her school, Sierra Canyon, on the eve of World Mental Health Day because she received an invitation to speak on mental health. While there, Kendall shared with the students that deleting some of her social media ads helped her calm her anxiety. And then later, we also see when Kim launched the SKIMS by Swarovski, an innerwear and lounge collection that tries to incorporate the essence of both brands. When she arrived at the event, the show flashed back to her younger self talking about her love for Swarovski. So her collaboration with the brand felt like a dream come true. At the launch, Kim met with Swarovski's creative director, Giovanna Engelbert, and the two appreciated how well the store looked. Um, Okay, so before we, I guess, go to the last scene, what did we think about Kendall's visit to her old school, and then the Skims by Swarovski launch.
I have mixed reactions about Kendall going because
Okay.
I, and I have to think about the school. These are more affluent people, probably. So Kendall is relatable. But what about the kids that, and I don't know the demographics of that school, but what about the kids that aren't as rich or, not popular like all the celebrity kids? I feel like, again, right, a message, wrong messenger, you mentioned earlier. She did have some good advice. Advice is still advice. But for things like that, it would have been nice to probably have like some kind of specialist to also be there and, you know, propose things that you can do to help your mental health, like some, real legit tips to help the
Yeah.
kids and whatever to navigate it along with Kendall's testimony. Maybe it should have been a panel, but just Kendall just going, oh, a supermodel who doesn't seem to have problems going and talking about it. It's just, it felt flat for me. Maybe it resonated with the kids.
Hmm.
Um, but I feel like with things like that, the different insights or the different opinions that you hear, the better it is
Yeah.
for someone.
Yeah, for sure. I'm not sure if they did in fact have a panel. They didn't really emphasize who
Hmm.
all was there besides her. I would hope that they would have actual
Yeah.
mental health advocates, mental health specialists there to also discuss things. But I mean, listen, Gen Z and the younger generations, some of them seem to not care what celebrities say, which is pretty cool. But again, like you mentioned, this is, I believe, an affluent school. I mean, this is where like LeBron has his kids. This is like obviously where the Jenner sisters went. So this is an affluent school. So I would feel like maybe they would kind of relate
Mhm.
to her a little bit. Um, but still, it is something that I, if she wanted to get away from the narrative that all she talks about is like her anxiety and mental health, then her having a whole, scene of appearing at her school to discuss that,
Yeah.
it kind of, negates the whole thing. But she does seem like she's doing really well. So hopefully she has her mental health has been really, really good so far, and she hasn't really had like any issues with it as she did before. Deleting social media apps. I mean, yeah, that's definitely something people should try to do every once in a while. Not having to be so connected to the apps could be helpful. And
Or
then the
maybe.
or games. Um, but then the Swarovski and Skims event, I thought was just very like, I don't know, flashy, and that was it. I didn't really think much else about it because later on she was already launching the Kim, you know, boob bra. Not gonna call it what it is.
Oh, the
Um,
nips.
the nips, yes, the nips. So it's kind of like I feel like it didn't give like enough because here we are already like discussing another product she's launching. This is the same episode where um she's talking about the difficulty of balancing, being a mother and all that stuff, but like she's got two launches coming and she's doing all these things, photo shoots for GQ and all that. So it's like anyway, I didn't really care for it. What did you think about that?
Um, well, I loved her outfit.
Oh yeah, that was cute.
We thought Kylie was a marketing genius back in the day with her lip kits and all her Kylie cosmetics.
Mhm.
Kim surpassed her tremendously because all her campaigns are things that are going on. So we
Yeah.
had WNBA ones, and they're strategically launched during these big events. So we
Yeah.
had the ladies in the Olympics, the American team. The
Mhm.
Olympics was going on. The WNBA, when the craze is all happening for men.
Yeah, and the season just started
Men,
too.
of course, we want to see some bodies.
Right.
So I think today we saw Penelope Featherington,
We should.
Nicola, what's it called? Nicola
Coughlin. Coughlin.
Coughlin.
Yeah.
And we're going on, part two of Bridgerton season 3, which,
Mm-hmm.
by the way, is pissing me off. We're going to cover it later on.
Of course.
Um, so she's just very strategic, and we see it. And this is very on brand for Kim. At this point, I feel like we're not even impressed anymore. It's like, girl, we know you're smart. You're doing great, sweetie.
Right. She
I
also
don't need to
had
see. Go ahead.
she also had Jude Bellingham over the weekend, who's a like huge rising star in the I'm sorry?
Was it a soccer player? A
Yeah,
football?
yeah, he plays for Real Madrid, which Real Madrid just won the Champions League, and then he also had his first game with the English national team for the Euros, and he scored the only goal. Like this is Jude Bellingham is like killing the game, and he's getting a lot of popularity, and she's already having him featured on Skims, which is like
Mhm.
wow, the same weekend that he's being featured at the Euro Cup and everything, like when I saw that, I thought, man, yeah, she's smart. And then I saw the Nicola Coughlin thing today, and I was like, okay, that's it.
I'm like, this is
She's
genius. I hate
genius.
you, Kim Kardashian.
That's exactly what I thought. Okay, but so the last part of the episode saw Chloe proudly donning Kim's Nips bra, which went viral after its launch late last year. Malika, Chris, and Scott, who discussed Malika's wish to have a child with a sperm donor, joined her. Chris sympathized with Malika and understood the importance of having a sibling for your baby. And that was how the episode ended, was that discussion. So, what do we think about that?
I think sometimes Chris has the best of intentions, but
Mhm.
it's almost braggy. It's like, yeah, I realized it was so important for me to have, kids have siblings. That's why I had 6. Meanwhile, this girl is trying to have just one more. Oh, we get it, Chris. You're winning at having kids. She said, I think earlier in this episode or the previous episode 3 or 2, she's
Mhm.
a professional pregnant person. I'm like, we get it, girl, we get it.
Yep.
So overall, I like that they could understand Malika's point of view.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you need to hear from somebody else that you're not completely crazy in your thoughts, and seek advice from them. As far as the nips, who really wears that? Like,
No idea. No clue. I was like, oh, what do you say to like your kids exactly?
mhm,
And then
is that
unrelated,
going to draw your attention? Like,
it's kind of hard not to
yeah.
anyway. But unrelated, the fact that she had her feet on her counter was so ick to me because she made such a big deal about shoes on the counter, feet on the counter, and then
Mhm.
here she is having a charcuterie board with her feet just below.
That was nasty.
Yeah. And then
Ina.
Scott and then Scott being super weird and creepy with, staring at the Nips bra and then also basically telling Malika that he's always wanted to do it with her. Um Also felt like really
Mhm.
really so anyway, I do like the dynamic that we see when we have like Scott and Chloe together because of like the banter, but when they go into these really like icky places, I'm like, I'm not here for it.
Yeah, I hate that
Hmm.
when they do those things. It's like, and then Scott saying, "Oh, always wanted to bang you, Malika." It's like, well, damn. So he was with Courtney, thinking all these thoughts about these other women. I'm like, that's weird.
Mm, men, I tell you, men.
Mhm.
Yep.
You would think that he was probably hanging out with Trish Trash, but I don't know. That was another. Guys, let us know what you think in the comments about episode 4. What did we think about the field trip to the SPERM bank?
Uh-huh.
Ix, was it informative? Can you sympathize, empathize with Malika and her quest to have another baby, or just her feelings overall? What else? What do we think about Kim's Skims campaign? Is that like
Never
the
ending campaign.
the never end, or her complaining about the kids? Did it
Yeah.
fall flat for you guys, or can you understand her? I don't know. Let us know in the comments. But
Yeah.
that concludes today's episode. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our videos. Also, please share our video. We're trying to grow our community so your friends can be our friends. We can all be friends. We also have social media, which Steve will tell you about.
We are on TikTok and Instagram at Hear Me Out DNE. So make sure you guys like, follow, share, and comment. You can also listen to our videos in podcast format via Spotify and YouTube Music.
All right, guys. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Bye.
Bye.